Okay, thank you, David, and thank you to all of you for sticking it out and joining us this afternoon for this final session on preparing for AI chatbots. So over the next 20 minutes or so, we would like to share with you our experiences of planning for the implementation of AI-enabled chatbots at Queen's University, Belfast, and some of the steps that we are taking to minimise the risks while maximising the benefits for our students and our staff. So, as David said, I'm Helen Dixon. So I'm the Digital Transformation Programme Manager, and I'm going to start off just by setting the context and giving you a little bit of the background to the project. I will then hand over to Liam, who is the project manager, and he will talk a little bit about how he is managing the implementation. And then Peter will give you some insights into how we're leveraging the data to help us to continually improve. So over the last 3 years, we have been exploring how we can use chatbots and AI to answer simple queries from students and to raise awareness of some of our services and facilities. This has been prompted by the need for us to facilitate 24/7 and remote support for our students and to reduce the admin burden on staff who are required to respond to queries, and also to improve our communications and enhance our general student experience. So the problem that we've been trying to resolve is that students sometimes find it difficult to access the information that they need using a mobile device. And there has been an increase in queries coming in from different channels, such as social media and email, which makes it difficult for staff then to identify trends and to see where we need to improve our online information. So we saw this then as an opportunity to try implementing a simple chatbot for student queries while exploring the wider potential of artificial intelligence. Now, this wasn't our first adventure into the world of chatbots. Our digital marketing team, supported by Michelle McGahey here at the front from the business services team, had already successfully implemented a Gecko chatbot to respond to inquiries from potential applicants. In addition, our library team was piloting a chatbot built using cognitive services and Power Virtual Agents and incorporating omnichannel for customer service to provide live agent support. So within the digital transformation team, we started engaging with other directorates to build up further sets of questions and answers around topics such as enrolment and registration, accommodation, and tuition fees. We then piloted this chatbot last year on a limited number of web pages, and then we conducted a review at the end of the first semester. Now, unfortunately, the review highlighted several challenges. First of all, there was still a heavy admin burden on our staff who were required to collate these question and answer sets, and then also to continually monitor that information and update and maintain it, and creating the various topics and skills that were required. This was partly to do with the fact that we weren't tapping into our existing knowledge sources, so we had a plethora of web pages there, which we knew we could use AI to generate responses from. And the review also indicated that the responses being provided by the chatbot had a low accuracy rate. So as part of the review, I took a sample of the responses and evaluated them for accuracy. And to be frank, I was slightly horrified when I looked at some of the responses that were being returned by the chatbot, because they were simply a best fit based on the question and answer sets that were available to it. So the evaluation revealed that something like 15 to 20% of the responses could be deemed as being wholly accurate, with only about 20 to 30% then being partially accurate. So this meant that about half of the responses being returned by the chatbot were incorrect. For example, we had a student that asked about how they could get an extension for their assignment, and they were directed to a web page about installing browser extensions. So that multitude of ways that people could phrase questions and the differences in terminology and spelling, etc., meant that the chatbot was limited in how accurate it could be. Also, we had a lack of governance. So at that stage, we didn't have real-time metrics showing us what questions were being asked and identifying where there were unanswered or incorrect responses being returned. So we weren't able to see those trends or see how we could improve the responses and the accuracy of our online information. So I had to conclude that this was indeed a poor user experience, and that we needed not just to improve the accuracy of the responses, but also to guide the users on how to use the chatbot effectively and to manage their expectations that this system couldn't integrate with the student information system or answer very specific questions. So at this point, I realized we needed a change in approach, and there were two factors to that. First of all, we decided we needed to expedite the implementation of the AI-enabled chatbot, and also I realized that we needed to manage this implementation as a key university project. And this is the stage then where Liam comes in, because Liam had just joined the team at that stage after many years working as a web developer for the university. So he brought with him a wealth of experience in managing online content and the user experience. So Liam, I'll hand over to you then to talk through what you did next.
Thank you, Helen, and good afternoon, everyone. So as Helen says, I joined the team in October 2023, but that wasn't the arrival everyone was talking about at that time. It was, you might remember, that AI chatbots pretty much landed. They were all in the media. One day, AI was going to do everything for us. The next day, we were all going to lose our jobs. So over the coming weeks and months, we noticed a few interesting media articles. So I'm going to run you through some of these now. First off, we had the courier firm, DPD. Their AI chatbot called itself useless, and then it criticized the delivery firm. Next up, we had the official number 10 chatbot start to respond to users in French. It's a bit of a surprise. James mentioned this one yesterday, Air Canada. Their AI chatbot misled a customer that ended up in court. We used the Microsoft Copilot AI chatbot. This chatbot started giving users bizarre, disturbing, and even harmful messages. We had users trick chatbots into solving security puzzles, like the captchas you would use when you're logging in or filling out forms. We had researchers jailbreak AI chatbots using ASCII art to bypass the safety measures. It's quite concerning. And then finally, we had a poisoned AI that went rogue during training and couldn't be taught to behave again in what was described as a legitimately scary study. So, picture the scene. We're looking to roll out AI, and we see all these crazy warning signs. I'm thinking we're going to end up in court. Something bad's going to happen. So we had to put in some governance. We looked at governance across two areas, staff-focused and user-focused. So I'm going to start with the staff-focused governance. First thing we did was create a request form. So our departments could request a chatbot. As part of that request, they had to accept responsibility for the chatbot. So the build, the testing, and monitoring of that chatbot. We also created an emergency escalation plan. So if the chatbot misbehaved, or if it was causing performance issues across our website, then our staff knew to follow the plan to make sure that we were able to remove remove the chatbots. We also, as I said, we use the Microsoft Copilot AI chatbot. So there's a Microsoft layer to this product. The chatbot is built using a GPT-4 model, and it's grounded in the Bing.com search engine results. Microsoft build their products using what they call their 6 responsible AI principles, things like fairness, inclusivity, transparency and privacy and so forth. As well as that, Microsoft also give you the ability to moderate and control the creativity of the chatbot. So this is important. By keeping the creativity low, we can be sure that the responses are more accurate and closer to our knowledge sources. So that was important, but these things all sort of bundled in together give us a bit more confidence that the product was business ready. So, privacy. We record all our chats and transcripts, and we do this because we want our departments to be able to go in and look at things like answer quality and answer accuracy. So they can improve their chatbot experience. They can also improve their knowledge sources. We currently hold these chat transcripts for 90 days, but that could shorten to 60 or 30 days in the future. We don't want to hold it forever, but we want to give enough time for our departments to actually look at the metrics and review their chatbot performance. And we also make clear to the users that we do record these chats. We'll talk a bit about that later.
Of course, the users are anonymous as well.
Yes,
correct.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's a good point. Users are anonymous, and we do tell them, don't enter in any personally identifiable information. So absolutely, privacy is definitely one of the big sort of items with these chatbots. When building the chatbots, we met with the departments, and we advised that they conduct an online content review. So as you know, university websites can be pretty vast. There can be a lot of redundant, out of date or stale content on the websites. So we asked them to streamline their websites. They were also encouraged to move staff-focused content onto the intranet, so freeing up the public website to be more sort of public-focused. At the same time, our web content management system team, they were conducting a content and asset reduction project. So our guidance aligned well with the intranet push and this project by the web CMS team. So I want to talk a wee bit about control, and the sort of control that makes sure we keep AI chatbots working for us and not against us. So in collaboration with the web CMS team, we created a content type that we call a kill switch. This is essentially just a content type specifically for the chatbot. But why did we do this? So again, if the chatbot misbehaves, then this gives us the power to remove the chatbot from our entire university website in a single decisive action. It's about building trust and having control of the user experience at all times. So in training and support, we didn't do anything revolutionary. We have an intranet page where our departments can come on and find out a bit about the chatbot, how they can get access to it, what it can do. We conducted a range of online sessions explaining to our departments how they can build and maintain their chatbot. We had some sessions on live agents. Some of our departments do use live agents. As part of the training and support, we have a 4-step build process, which is analyze, build, test, and publish. So our departments are involved at every single stage. So it's quite important, and they know it's part of their responsibility that we tell them about when they sign up at the very start. And not too far removed from the build process, we have a continual improvement plan. So quite similar, but instead of the test stage, we have a review stage, so they can use the metrics based on their findings. So moving across now to our user-focused governance. You'll see here we've got a bit of a visual on the left-hand side. That's when you're engaged in the chat. So I'm just going to zoom in, and I want you to focus just at the top here. There's 3 small sentences. Now, there's a bit of thought that's put into those sentences, so I'm going to talk through them, and I'm going to start with branding. The first thing you see, it's a big sort of in-your-face red block. That's our primary QUB brand color. Besides that, we haven't really done much brand work on the chatbot. We kept it close to the stock product, and that was deliberate, so we could easily spin up AI chatbots quite quickly during the pilot. So the next thing I want to draw your eye to is the phrasing. So because we are using AI and there is the risk of inaccuracy, we wanted to tone down the formal language of the chatbot. So we have used emojis and we think it helps a little bit. And you can see at the very top line, sorry, maybe a bit small, guys, but we've got an emoji of a robot, and it says, "Hi, I'm an AI chatbot." So as well as using the emoji to take down that sort of formal tone, it's also setting expectations, letting people know it's not a human behind this, it is a robot. When we talk about scope, we're talking about the knowledge sources that power our chatbot responses. So right now, that's our university websites. But during testing, here's what we discovered. When we used the entire Queen's University website as a knowledge source for a department-specific chatbot, the responses could sometimes be a little off. So why was that? Well, the university website is vast, and sometimes the AI chatbot can draw from unofficial sources, things like student blogs that do exist on our university website, but they're not ideal to be providing responses on behalf of departments. So what we learned was, if we wanted to provide an accurate and reliable experience, then we need to narrow the scope of our chatbot knowledge sources. What we did there was we told the departments to focus on their own website. We mentioned earlier about streamlining the website. This will help with the scope, but sorry, apologies. One of the things that we were focused on then was making sure that we were trying to provide a good user experience, trying to build that trust, trying to foster satisfaction, and to empower the user to find the information that they're looking for. So on the transparency, because we're using the Microsoft product, some of you might have used the Microsoft Bing.com AI chatbot. And at the very bottom of that, it has a wee warning message to say, it says, "I use AI, so mistakes are possible." And we thought, if we're using the same technology, then we should have a similar message too. So we have that as our third paragraph, or our third sentence here. It says, "I sometimes use AI, so mistakes are possible." So we're trying to be transparent to the user. And again, this reinforces the sort of limitations of the product and expectations of the user. For more information, we have a link then to a chatbot help page that takes me on to guidance. So on this chatbot help page, we do provide more transparency. We also talk about the limitations of the product, what it can, what it can't do. We guide the user on writing good prompts and avoiding bad prompts. And they can also feed back to us. So there's a form on there. They can feed back to us in terms of poor content, or if they say there's a technical issue. But we can also gather feedback within the chatbot itself. So we can surface up a post-chat survey where a user can give us a rating from 1 to 5. Our library team does this at the moment. Then they'll look at their metrics to see how well their chatbot is performing. So that's our introductory message. But I'm going to draw your eyes to the next sort of message that comes through. And we didn't want to just give a chatbot that was just empty. You had no guidance. We wanted to provide a guided experience. So what we did is we used menu options. But these menu options, they were drawn by speaking to the departments and asking them to review their website stats, and also chat internally to see what the biggest sort of queries that they're fielding are. So that helped inform this guided menu. And again, this menu reinforces the scope and the expectations when you're on this particular department chatbot. These menu options aren't static though, they can change. So if we're coming up to say a time, maybe like graduation, we could have a graduation option to the top. So we're making sure that the students are getting the right information that they need at the right time. And finally, on the user-focused governance, well-being is a big concern that we have. Because we are recording all these chats and transcripts, what we don't want is to find that we have missed a student cry for help. So we've collaborated with the well-being team, and they've identified a set of trigger words and phrases. If that's entered by the student into the chat, then we'll surface up a support message, signposting the student to appropriate support. So guys, I've spoken enough about governance. and we're going to pass you on to look at chatbot metrics. But there's no better person to talk about metrics than someone who's just recently achieved a distinction in his data science masters. So I'm going to pass you on to Peter Hazard, and he can take us from AI to BI.
Indeed, a term coined earlier today. Chatbot metrics, they form a very important part of building chatbots, because not only do you want to get the chatbots out there, you also need to monitor what they're saying. We can gauge the value of chatbots by looking at every time when those chatbots are being opened. That shows their impact. The amount of questions the chatbot is answering at any time of the night, that shows their cost efficiency, effectiveness, and how quickly they get to that answer and let the student move on. That shows their efficiency. And that overall should bring up the user satisfaction at Queen's. We work with teams and departments, and we give them access to their metrics. They can draw their own insights into the data. By tracking the topics that are triggered through the conversations the chatbot has, they can identify trends and gauge that student experience. Are they having problems, or are they having a good time? And through the numbers of the chatbot, we can see the engagement. This can be how frequently they're accessing the chatbot. Is it during the week, evenings, whatever time of the school calendar? And we can also see how many messages they're sending per chat conversation. And as we've learned over the last few days, and if not few months, AI out of the box may not always be perfect, and I'll be going through our continual improvement process, which involves building, reviewing, improving, and republishing. The continual improvement process, we start with meeting with the department and building a chatbot to their requirements. This is done inside Microsoft's Copilot Studio that has went through many changes over the last year. Once they've tested and they're ready, we publish it out, and it is connected to a Power BI dashboard. In here, the team can review the chatbot metrics and see what the students are asking, how long they're talking for, multiple different things. I'll be going through it in more detail in the next slide. Once they've reviewed the metrics, they can look for areas of improvement. There's going to be an AI response in there that has answered everything, but there may be some things that it's missed, or there's a source that's provided inaccurate information, or maybe no information at all that might be missing. We then go back to Copilot Studio and we update and allow the team to test. Once they're happy, we republish and start the whole process again. Here, we jump inside Power BI. This is expanded for readability. But we've got quite a lot of information on here, and you notice we've got 4 buttons, which are specific pages on chatbot metrics. I've categorized them in colors. So on red here, that's accessed through what I call the widget, or the chatbot button that you click to open a chat. So everything from the hi, I'm an AI chatbot, to conversation end is all through the red section here. If the user asks a question, it'll go into this blue section, because this is where it uses AI. So AI will look at the sources of information, and through the AI answers, we're able to track which URLs or websites are being used to make the answer, and how many times that URL is being used. This gives us an idea of what's the popular topics people are asking and talking about. Though, it comes to a crossroads where it will give you an answer, right or wrong, or it'll give you an unanswered prompt and it'll say, sorry, may you rephrase that. Every time someone asks that, that goes into a separate table, and we give that to the department so they can review what's missing from their website. Probably our most important page on the dashboard. In green, we have other categories such as conversation time and chatbot feedback, which uses the Microsoft customer voice. quickly, don't fall asleep on me yet. Key metrics that we use in the chatbot. So I've mentioned we can see the time of day conversations are being engaged, normally between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. during the week. Not so much in the weekends. Mainly students aren't asking those questions. Our AI URLs, we count how many questions are being asked, how many URLs are being used, and we also count how many times the URLs are being used. At the top is the Queen Sports membership, so they're looking to join the gym. This is quite a nice graph I like. We can see the average number of conversations per day, the total number of conversations per day, and we can actually see the gray bars here, the average messages per conversation. So that tells us it's very consistent how many messages students are asking per time they open the widget. And then using the Microsoft Customer Voice, we asked the student, rate our chatbot out of 5, and we also asked them for comments. And Microsoft Customer Voice actually has a sentiment value in there, so it's in a percentage scale. If they say something bad, it's around 10%, and if it's something good, it's up to the 90%. That's it from me. But just before we close, Liam's going to tell us what's next.
Okay, guys. Thank you, Peter. Guys, we're pretty much on time, so I'm going to skip through this quite quickly. We're going to try and roll out our wellbeing funnel. If that works well, we're going to roll that out to our other chatbots. We're hoping to replace the Gecko chatbot that Michelle was involved in. There's a bit of integration with the CRM, and we're looking to capture lead information on this chatbot. We're hoping to do a review of the UI UX, so that's our tone, language, and branding that I spoke about earlier, to see where we can improve. We want to continue to improve our processes. One of the things we're also doing as a university is that we're looking at Microsoft Purview, which is around the document sensitivity labeling. So that will help us with any internal chatbots that we do on, say, SharePoint. Onboarding, we're hoping to onboard more departments, and we're hoping to sort of put the chatbot on further websites. It's only on a limited sort of number at the moment. We'll continue to collect feedback and evolve the product. And finally, we hope to exploit possibilities such as chatbot skill sharing and other integrations. So guys, I suppose that's pretty much it from us. And yeah, if you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. That was absolutely amazing, and it's great to see, all those next steps as well. So anybody, any questions? We'll have time for one quick question or two questions if we have any in the audience.
I was just wondering if the technology is mature enough to deal with systems that deal specifically with welfare and counselling for students. There's an ambition in my uni to run that in 7. There's a bit of concern about its product maturity, etc.
Absolutely, and I think it's an area where we're just learning. So we're only sort of dipping our toes into the water, so to speak, in terms of the well-being side. But what we're doing is we're not trying to engage the student using AI, but when we detect something, we're trying to signpost them to the well-being website, and they'll have a particular landing page there that will have the appropriate support information that has been written specifically by the well-being team. So we're not using AI to take our place, because sometimes AI might not give the answers that we wanted to give. So by doing that, we make sure that we're very sort of straight down the line.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yep.
If the student cannot find the answer they are looking for with a chat, with a bot, is there any other option offer for them? Like, sorry, I can't give you the answer you're looking for, but please go here or there.
Yes.
I felt the frustration of not being able to get out of the loop.
Yes.
I can probably answer that. So the library team's probably best to answer, have the best solution, where they would normally have a ticketed system for people that come to the desk, and physically anyway. So we have that integrated into the chatbot. So if it says, sorry, we can't help you with that, or sorry, can you please rephrase it, would be the first option. But if they do that too many times, it gets them prompt with a website where they can log a ticket. Similarly, if they ask to chat to a live person, while they're waiting in the queue, if they don't want to wait for a live agent, they get prompted with a link to log a ticket. So it goes back to the emails and ticket system if the chatbot can't answer it.
As well as that, you might have seen the menu options that we talked about. Some of the chatbots actually have sort of a button there where you can actually get maybe the office details or further information. So we try to surface that up if that is a particular problem, so you don't get that sort of frustrating user experience.
And an interesting outcome of moving to the AI-enabled chatbots is that the requests that the library receive for the live agent interventions have decreased. So the AI chatbot is clearly answering the responses much better than the previous version and actually reducing the need for the live agent support.
Okay, so just before we wrap up, just on that as well, the library team, they went in and looked at their metrics and they seen someone asked a question about the library, which was, is there a prayer room? And they didn't get a response. So that was recorded in the metrics. The library team, they said, but we do have a prayer room, but it didn't say it on their knowledge source on the website. So they went and added that. The next day, they typed in the same question, they got a response. So it's that continual improvement process, trying to identify what's been answered, what hasn't been answered, and just continue to make the sort of user experience a good one.
Yeah, the bot is only as good as the information.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay, so I'm conscious I can't be biased and give obviously one of our teams more time on stage here, so I have to be fair to everybody. So if I could just ask you once again, please show your appreciation for the team. Thank you so much.